Estamos aquí en la conferencia de Blizzard, donde se va a desvelar ese gran secreto que guardaba la compañía para la Gamescom. Quizás sea de Dark Below, quizás sea un DLC para World of Warcraft o para Diablo 3. El caso es que lo vamos a ver ahora mismo y enseguida os lo contamos.
Peace, but it was not to be. For Diablo's essence lingers in the black soul stone. I cannot destroy the stone, nor allow its evil to remain within the heavens. And so it must be hidden, even from the angels. I pray that it will be enough. Your service here is finished. You should all run. Malfail.
Reaper of Souls, the next expansion for Diablo III. I'm Josh Scarrett, the game director, and really excited to be here today and sort of lift the veil and show you guys what's in store for you guys in Reaper of Souls. Our goal when we started the project was simple, was to capture that fantasy that is at the heart of Diablo and really deliver it. And for us it means three things. The first one is epic heroes. Whether you're the barbarian, or the demon hunter, or the witch doctor, the players take on these bigger-than-life roles. But for us, it's not just about epic heroes or evil villains. But what is Reaper of Souls? Well, it's a feature-rich expansion. And the star of the hour is the Crusader, our new class. He is the righteous warrior of wrath. Our focus is to try to provide with players with as many different options to when it comes to the end game. The two I'm going to talk about today are what we call loot runs.
And trapped him in the Black Soul Stone. And Tyrael stepped forward to proclaim this new age of angel and man working together, an age of peace. And it seemed like nothing could go wrong. There was just this one little problem of the Black Soul Stone. With Diablo's essence trapped in it, it is the most powerful artifact in creation. And as you heard in the cinematic, Tyrael didn't know if it could be destroyed or what would happen if it was, and so he decided to hide it away.
About our newest villain, Malthael. Of course, it's not every time you actually get to design death itself, so this is always very exciting for us. We took some of the visual cues from past lore, but ultimately for his expansion, we really want to make sure that we gave him his very distinct look and really underscore the darker aspect of this new expansion. Last but not least, we have the Death Maidens, who, unlike the constructs you've seen before, are actually...
When we go to make a new class for something in Diablo, we ask ourselves a few questions. What is the core strong fantasy? How do you as a player feel awesome playing the class? What is the connection to the world of Sanctuary? Why does this person take on the forces of darkness? And what is his backstory? His backstory is that hundreds of years ago, the Paladins, last seen in Diablo, thinking, what happens if you mix the Paladin, that knight in shining armor, with the Spartan war ethos, mixed with a modern armored tank, calculated into the damage a Crusader does. This is just one of the many skills that use the shield as a weapon. Fist of the Heavens, one of just a couple of spells from Diablo II from the Paladins that are returning here. This is that mid-range melee ability. So while he's fighting in the middle of a group of enemies where he wants to be, he can strike at a distance as well. We thought we'd take that fantasy one step further, and that's where Falling Sword comes in. So if a tank has a shell or an artillery strike at a distance, what if the Crusader, being a medieval warrior, literally was the missile? He becomes the missile with Holy Wrath, and that's where Falling Sword comes from. So enough talk for a moment. 6 abilities. I'm going to layer them all in, and then we'll unleash hell on the enemies towards the end.
So we start on the outskirts of Westmarch. The Crusader has heard about the massacre happening in the city. And so he doesn't know all of the details of what's going on or why, but he immediately makes his way there to try to put an end to the killing. And right off the bat, you run into Borak. He's the young Paladin that Tyrael sent to find you during the cinematic. So he's got a quick message for you before you send him off to get Tyrael and bring him back to the city.
And even here, as you're actually looking down, you see Westmarch in the distance. And looking there, you can actually tell that something obviously is not quite right. And maybe we should go down there and explore a little bit further.
Shield glare. Holy energy comes down from the heavens, reflects off your shield, and blinds your enemies.
So obviously bad things are happening in the city here. You start to run into people fleeing. And you're going to see here how Malthael is able to actually turn the people of Westmarch into his reapers, his death constructs, and turn them against their friends.
And let's show off another ability. Here's Consecration. We'll let them surround you first. Well, while me or my enemies stand within the circle, or my allies stand within the circle, we're healed. In addition, this has a rune where enemies take holy fire damage.
So Kevin, it looks like Malthael has sealed the gate, and you're going to have to find another way into the city. And as you do, you'll...
Switching between interior spaces and exterior spaces. So as you see here, finding the actual entryway, going inside, and this is the waterway. And as you can see, the lighting changes, and we're now in the interior space.
It is really important, those transitions really help sell a sense of place. Makes Westmarch feel like a real city in Sanctuary, and again, it really shows off the great Gothic feel in the architecture of Westmarch.
So you're about to find a small group of refugees huddling here. They're actually out of danger because they're safe inside the walls. So if you're searching for refugees, you're going to need to keep moving. And And so you can run right past them. We're trying to keep a lot of the storytelling as ambient as possible. And now we're about to meet one of Malthael's signature lieutenants, the Death Maiden. She does this horrible thing to these people and then gets away. So you don't get to fight her yet, but hopefully you'll track her down later.
We're going to activate the Law of Valor. It's a passive ability, much like the mantras, where I gain extra damage as I do critical hits, but it also has an activation bonus of extra. Hold on, the game is about loot.
Oh, I know.
Awesome.
So now the Crusader is making his way into the cathedral, and this is where he's heard a rumor that there's a bunch of refugees hiding, and they're not safe here. So the Crusader's got to get into the cathedral and try to stabilize the situation before he can worry about anything else. Just save as many civilians as possible.
And one of the things I really love about the Crusader is how the tactical combinations of all the skills really give a really great feeling as a for the player. You come up with some great 1, 2, 3 combos.
And you saw that a bunch of those Reapers were running towards the cathedral, and that's because they can sense the spell, that black orb. And we don't know what that is yet, but we may find out at another time.
So let's talk a little bit more about tactics. The Death Maiden teleports around a lot, so I have sort of 3 different ways of stopping her. I can strike at a distance, I can blind her, and I can use Falling Sword for that distance strike when she runs away.
Nice work. Goodies.
So we found 2 special Crusader weapons. The Crusader Shield, which again, the armor percentage is part of the Crusader's damage. This is a massive upgrade here. And we found a legendary item. So targeted legendary. This particular one is God Butcher. It's perfect for the Crusader because it has a chance to pull its enemies in and slow them. And so you're right in the middle of the action always where you want to be. When you guys play this demo, in just a little while, you're going to be able to try this weapon out yourself.
Alright, now you just got a good sense of what the story is, who the Crusader is, and you saw a little bit of the demo. I want to get into some of the details, because for us it's really important that we really revamp and we really sort of change our philosophy, more epic loot overall. We really want to make sure that we're not constantly filling up your bag with items you don't care about. That when you do find an item you care about, that it actually has a meaningful change. But more importantly, if you look at the legendary affixes, the ones in yellow, those are really the ones that we're talking about making the legendaries as awesome and as epic as we can make them. But before I really get into more of our legendaries, I just want to quickly show you guys that is currently dropping in Diablo 3. So that player found 256 common items, 399 blue items, 275 yellow items, and 1 legendary. So there's hope that one of these items was good for you. So now let's fast forward and let's take that exact same play saw in Diablo 3, but more importantly, we're making these useful because we're introducing a new crafting reagent around common items. So there'll be a reason for you to pick them up. Blue items get a reduction as well. They're still important that you find a lot of these because these are the items that you're going to be using for reagents, but we're also introducing transmog, which we're going to talk about in a second. But the real important change is when it comes to the rare or the yellow items. Big change from 275 to 83. The thing to keep in mind is that every single one of those items, those 83, is a chance to be a smart drop item. That means that we're increasing the chances of you finding a side grade or an upgrade. And finally, what about those legendaries? In that playthrough of Act 3, we found 6 legendary items. It doesn't mean we're throwing out legendaries like they're going out of fashion. The thing is, there's still going to be those really rare legendaries that players are going to want to hunt for. But we want to make sure that players are seeing legendaries more often, and they're really trying to deliver on the promise of making those legendaries build chambers. So let's take a quick look at fantastic things. The first one is transmogrify, which means that you no longer have to sacrifice your visuals of how your character looks for power. 100 or 1200 hours of Diablo, or you just finished or just killed Diablo once. We want to make sure there's something for everyone after they finish their 3 big changes. The first one is that it's no longer, it is now account-wide. So as long as you have one character at max level, all your characters will get the benefit from Paragon. The other thing we're changing, there's no longer a ceiling, there's no cap. So if you want to
Bueno, la conferencia de Blizzard ya ha terminado, ha sido menos de una hora, pero bastante intensa. No hemos visto nada de World of Warcraft. En este caso se ha hablado mucho de Diablo 3 y su expansión nueva, Reaper of Souls, que va a traer todo un nuevo acto para Diablo, el acto 5, en el que vamos a ver a un enemigo a Balciel, el que era el jefe de los ángeles al que recurrían por sabiduría, va a ser nuestro enemigo y parece que pinta muy fiero. Tanto a nivel de diseño artístico como en cuestión de habilidades va a ser bastante duro de pelar. Se ha añadido una nueva clase que tiene que ver con la clase de Diablo 2, los paladines. Entonces se ha añadido, es el cruzado de Crusader. Va a pegar muy fuerte, la verdad, y sobre todo va a ser un tanque que va a actuar tanto a nivel con escudo como con nuevas habilidades y nuevas magias que muchos de los jugadores que jugabais a Diablo 2 vais a encontrar con cariño. También tendremos nuevo sistema de luteo y un montón de novedades más. La verdad es que si me pegara hablándoos aquí me pegaría un buen rato, así que mejor que lo veáis en el nuevo tráiler que seguro que Blizzard publicará por algún lado, que va a ser impresionante, la verdad. Tenemos muchas ganas de que salga esta expansión Reaper of Souls.